I said in my last video about the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Hollywood these days is all about sequels and remakes, many of which are bad, that don't add anything to the original film, like the slew of different horror films, or, in my opinion, Ralph Breaks the Internet. A bad sequel can devalue the original film, but a good sequel? It's rare, but it can actually make the original film even better. And today, that's what I'm going to talk about when I talk about the Disney Plus original High School Musical, the series, and how it enhances the original High School Musical film. The original High School Musical came out in 2006, and it was a wild and weird success for a Disney Channel film. In fact, it wasn't treated like a Disney Channel original film at all. It was treated as if it was a true theatrical release that was a huge box office success. It had merchandise, DVD sales, and even a live stage production. It was so successful that it spawned 2 other Disney Channel High School Musical films and a spin-off film all about Sharpay. But like many of the other Disney Channel original films, High School Musical is kind of cheesy. But before we go any further, let me be a little bit transparent here. I've only seen clips from High School Musical 2 and 3 and the spin-off film about Sharpay, and I only recently watched the High School Musical original film a few years ago when Angie sat me down and forced me to watch it with her. I see why people really enjoy the original High School Musical film. The choreography, the music, the weirdly offbeat acting, it just all feels kind of tongue-in-cheek fun. So when Disney Plus announced that they were going to have a sequel series launching with their Disney Plus service, I understood why. That there would be a built-in market for that show. What I didn't expect was that High School Musical, the show, would actually change the films and subvert our expectations of what a High School Musical series would be. If you haven't seen the show, it follows a brand new drama teacher and a slew of high school students as they decide to put on a production of High School Musical since they already go to East High, the high school where they originally shot the first film. In the first episode, which is completely shot in this pseudo-mockumentary style, we see the show in a completely different light than the films that came before it. The series shares a name with High School Musical, but the emotional and humorous beats are completely different. And when the film sets up stereotypes of high school students, the Disney Plus show goes out of its way to break those stereotypes. In the original film, Troy, who is our male lead, is kind of a stereotypical jock, and he ends up showing a softer side, but he's still a jock nonetheless. And Gabriella, our female lead, is the pretty and nerdy girl who's new to the school. In this series, our new leads are Ricky and Nini, 2 characters who feel really unique and special. And over 10 episodes, we see a nuanced take of who they really are, not really fitting into a stereotype or a high school clique. In fact, everyone in this show is nuanced, coming from different walks of life. And the one thing uniting all of these characters across the entire show is the production that they're going to put on, the High School Musical. Take a character like Gina, for example. When we first meet her in episode 1, she's a very talented theater performer. She can sing, she can dance, she could do it all. And because of that, she has this very diva attitude that comes across as a mean girl, as a bully. But after Ricky's breakup with Nini, Gina and Ricky get together and we see a softer side of this character. And over the course of a few episodes, we start to learn more about her. Gina isn't the villain in the story. In fact, I don't think anybody in the High School Musical series really is a villain. She treats people the way that she does because she's trying to overcome her own obstacles in life. Since her mother works for the government, she has constantly been on the move, going from one school to the next, and instead of trying to make new friends and create a love life for herself, she's decided to play this hard-shelled person because it would be easier to move if she didn't care about people. She really is putting on this facade, not because she wants to be mean, but because she doesn't want to be hurt. All of these details take what would otherwise be a stereotypical mean girl and turn her into a pretty nuanced human character that anybody can emotionally relate to. And the complexities don't just end with individual characters. Relationships are complex within this show as well. In the original film, we see two perfect people end up in a perfect relationship by the end of the story. But that's not really the case here in High School Musical, the series. In fact, the show begins with the breakup of Ricky and Nene. That breakup quickly becomes a reason to showcase pain, jealousy, desperation, and emotional scarring. Throughout the 10 episodes of the show's first season, we see a bunch of different relationships at different points. When Ricky and Nene break up, EJ and Nene start dating almost immediately. We see the blossoming of Seb, who finds his first love in Carlos. We get the incredibly sweet and shy relationship between Ashlyn and Big Red. And we see the divorce of Ricky's parents and how that impacts the both of them as well as Ricky, and how his dad tries to heal and test the waters in a new relationship with Miss Jen, Ricky's new drama teacher. The plethora of varying relationships at different points really makes this show feel more human, something that the original films just don't do. And the show does pay homages to the original films, recreating some of the classic dance numbers and show tunes, but really the series excels with its original songs, namely the song Wondering. It's a heartbreaking song about second-guessing the decisions and moments of your life, something that people can relate to at any age. The new songs truly only emphasize how different this show is and who it was trying to appeal to. It wasn't trying to get the Disney Channel tween crowd. It's really a show interested in showcasing human relationships for any age. And these new songs really connect emotionally, feeling more timeless than the songs in the original films that definitely feel like they came from the early 2000s. However, the show does a major favor for the Disney Channel original. The films reached a certain level of popularity, and I can't deny that. But in recent years, the films have fallen to the wayside. They really provide nothing but brainless, cheesy, nostalgic entertainment. And that's not to be offensive, but the show holds this film to a higher regard, probably more than most people would think. The series holds up this movie as something of a cult classic to be loved. And because we've connected with these characters on an emotional level, you feel that connection with a cult classic as well. The characters in the show reference the film frequently. And yes, they do hold it to this high regard, but they also understand what it is. A cheesy Disney Channel original film. And like many of that period, it helped these students develop their love for musical theater. And because of the show's quality and their emotional connection with the audience, they get you invested in this film that they're very excited about. You also start to think of the films in a different way. Even for me, somebody who doesn't have a serious emotional attachment to the High School Musical films now holds them in kind of this cult classic atmosphere. The show's climax and two-part finale is the showcase of the final production of the High School Musical they'd been rehearsing for all of the other episodes. And this feels like a true High School Musical. The show goes horribly wrong. The lighting and effects are offbeat. The acting isn't necessarily amazing, and in fact, during the production, while the audience is watching the show, there's two very distinct cast changes. Yet the students at the end of this production feel like they achieved something. Maybe not necessarily the show they wanted to put on, but the friendships that they created along the way. The show feels triumphant, not because they put on this big elaborate production, but because it achieves something that the films never did. The High School Musical series on Disney Plus understands what it means to be human, and what the human experience is. To be able to connect with other people, have good moments, bad moments, and to really create a family of your own. And for that, it doesn't just elevate itself as a standout series on Disney Plus, it elevates the entire High School Musical franchise. And thanks to how this series treats the films, it now always felt like we were building to this series. We were creating stereotypes in order just to break them later. And they were creating a cult classic so that these characters could bond over it. But I'd like to know your thoughts on High School Musical, the series. Did you watch it? Did you not? If you have a Disney Plus account, I would love to know your thoughts on the show and how you felt about it. Whether you connected with these characters or not, and whether you watched the original films and were a diehard fan, or you were more like me, who doesn't really have a connection to High School Musical at all. And I'm super excited to be talking more and more about Disney Plus, the shows that are on there, and how we can use these shows to tell bigger human stories. And also, leave a comment down below on what Disney Plus stuff you've been watching, whether it's a show or a movie. I'd love to know your thoughts on what we should be talking about on future episodes of this channel. I enjoy making these videos, and I hope that you enjoyed watching them. And if you did, subscribe, like, all that stuff. And if you look down in the description box, there's a place to buy our merchandise, some of our cool shirts, and also our Patreon. We put up extras over there, and it would be great if you help support the channel. And in the meantime, thank you guys for always watching, and as always, keep on moving.